Welcome to PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks-only gambling show on the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. This is part of the Seahawkers Podcast Network. I am joined by the Montana Seahawker, Mr. Adam Emmert. And of course, we have the Princetonian of Parlays, Mr. Wilson Kahn. Gentlemen, Week 18 is here. Let's do this real quick. Wilson, if you had to describe the Seahawks season, not just the gambling season, but the Seahawks season in one word, what would the word be? How would you describe the 2023 season?
Infuriating.
I like that. I like that wordplay. Adam, what about you? What's your one word to take it to describe this infuriating season?
Predictable.
Predictably infuriating.
Predictable.
Oh man, I don't even need to contribute a third word, guys. And for me, that's tough for me to hold off on that. But I think if we jelly those two together, to borrow a term you love, Adam, I think predictably infuriating might be might be a really good Mad Lib for this season. And then we carry that forward to our bets, of course, PNW Prop Stars. We look at the Seahawks games, we look at the angles, and we tell you what we like, the props, the bets, the parlays, the whole thing already. And we'll go through a couple of unique bets. And it's a lot of fun. It's a nice, different way to examine the Seahawks game. But it's been a weird year. It's been a very weird year. I guess one more thing before we get into last week's results and this week going forward, start with you, Adam. Adam, are we making the playoffs? What do you think?
Playoffs? Yes, we're making the playoffs. I want to make the playoffs. This is my football team, man. Like, I'm gonna root for success for them. And look, I think that the Bears have. You said it before we got on the show, Clinton. Wilson, you were right in lockstep with him. That the Bears seem to have a better chance of winning maybe than the Seahawks. But I do believe in the Seahawks this week because they need the offense to just pull their weight and then some just to win this football game. And they're going against a defense that's literally worse than ours. So there's a chance. It's not like you're playing the Steelers that have actually a very good defense.
Yeah, a legit defense. So in a predictably infuriating season, Wilson, does our Seahawks, do we go 9-8 and do we make the playoffs?
I'm leaning no right now, and it won't be the Chicago Bears' fault. That's all I'll say about that.
Oof, yeah, I hear you. All right, I'm going to break the tiebreaker. I'm going to say we do, and this is mainly because I said 4 weeks ago we're going to go 3-1, and that the Bears will beat the Packers in the last game, and we'll get in that way. So I can't get off that train now. That was 4 weeks ago. So at this point, we have a very good chance of going 3-1. And then let's go Justin Fields. Let's go. I want Fields. I want Bears fans to understand that you don't got to take that number one pick, that shiny number one pick. You don't gotta pick a quarterback. Adam, you talked about it a lot. Still kind of a lottery ticket. You don't gotta. You got your pick. You got the Carolina pick. If I'm a Bears fan, if I'm EJ Snyder, I'm sitting there petitioning all I can to be like, nope, go take two studs and build around that guy. That's my take. What do you got, Adam?
Where do you rank Justin Fields in the hierarchy of quarterbacks right now? Would you say that he is a top 15 guy?
I think he's on the verge of top 15. But I would also look at that, and I think he has still, to me, very much top 8 potential. And to me, it's not written yet. Okay. It's been a very messy start for different reasons, injury, changing of personnel. Just it's Chicago. It's weird, right? That's where I put him right now. I do think he's a pretty good quarterback, and he's showing. He's getting better before our eyes. That's how I'd say it. Wilson, what do you think, dude? Do you think he's a pretty good quarterback? Think he's okay? What would you say?
Well, the Bears fans seem to want him. I actually think he got worse this year, and I think the Bears, with the number one pick, should not be afraid to take a chance on another, a highly ranked quarterback prospect like Caleb Williams. I'm personally not a huge believer in Williams, but you got to shoot to score. And I think they've been languishing in mediocrity. You can blame it on whatever you want with Fields at quarterback, but they haven't done anything in 3 years with him at the helm. And I think that's got to be enough time for a guy you took so high in the first round. I don't hate them taking another chance here.
How about you, Adam? It seems like you were asking. I'm sure you had a take there.
I think he's somewhere in the 15 to 20 range. And I don't think he's improving as a passer in a way that I can look at it and be like, yeah, he's on his way. He's making progress. I think he's a very good running back who plays quarterback, and I think those guys can put it together and have an amazing season, maybe 2, and then usually the league figures it out, Jalen Hurts. And that's, I think, the ceiling for Justin Fields there. So I have yet to go through the college quarterbacks this year, but from what people are saying, there's probably 4 or 5 like legit dudes to choose from. And I imagine when I go back and look, there's probably going to be 2 where I'm like, oh yeah, like I like that guy a lot. In that case, then I would consider it in that situation. But it's not like the Seahawks, who have a top 12 quarterback right now on the roster who's flat out dealing, and they want to jettison him and then draft another guy. Yeah, Drew Lock.
Yeah, I was going to say, Adam, you can't be talking about Geno Smith because maybe over 50% of Seahawks punditry or fans think he stinks. Think he just he just holds onto the ball too long, and man, he can't.
At the beginning of the year, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
He did at the beginning of the year, and that changed like 4 or 5 weeks ago. Like
the dude's playing good football. He's playing very.
I heard your impassioned plea last week.
I know.
I listened. I listened to this show last week, boys, and I haven't laughed so hard in so long listening to a podcast. It was wonderful. Taking strays left and right. My goodness. But the thing is of all that, the only thing that I took real offense to is that you guys nailed the closing with Brandon. And like, you didn't even practice. You just nailed it out of the gate. What kind of bull catfish is that? And he didn't do anything differently than I did. Just chimed in right at the same time. What is this? You sandbagging on me?
I think it's his calming presence is what it boils down to with Brandon. And we've got let's put it this way. I think Wilson's a calming presence, and then you and I are like valency electrons here. Yeah. So 2 out of 3, we're just in this state, and then you bring Brandon in and you out, and it's like, okay, there's more of the calming, the sober yin to the raging yang there. So, and Wilson, I hope you don't mind. I put you in the calming influence because you have that stoicism about you that I think our people appreciate. Hope you like that.
Word, appreciate it.
Good. It's nice to be called a stoic, I feel like, right? All right. So
somewhere Marcus Aurelius is smiling. Yes,
exactly. So a fun preamble. Last week, I am the PNW Prop Star champion. Yay. I went 1 for 4, 1 for 3 in the regular bets. I will do a small Cadillac trot. That my winning bet last week was Najee Harris over 12.5 attempts. And I gave some really good reasons as to why I loved it. The part I hate to tell you all is that bet won in the first half. He had 13, maybe even 14. I think it was 13. That touchdown before halftime was his 13th carry of the first half. So just goes to show you, when Geno's on the field for 20, 21 minutes, we need to play better defense. So we will find out. Adam, you had one last week. The Myers prop hit for you last week. Good job there as well. The rest of it, we were just we were asked out. We did not hit. I know. So going into our potential final week, who is in front? Wilson, do you have the numbers in front of you?
Yes. So we're all in the red at this point in the season. Clinton, you've lost $90.59.
It's not bad.
I have lost $40.96, and Adam has lost $8.34.
Okay. We we got to
take
that in.
Basically a $32 lead going into potentially our final week of Prop Stars.
Yeah, it is. Yes. It is important to remind folks that if we make the playoffs, this train keep it rolling. That's what we're going to keep on going, because that's the way it goes all the way until we're raising the Lombardi in February, hopefully. All right. So this week, Cardinals, they do a number on the Eagles, which ends up doing a number on our Seahawks. Everything that could have went against the Seahawks, besides us not showing up defensively, also went against us. Rams losing in the last second, Detroit getting screwed out of a victory, Arizona somehow beating the Eagles because the Eagles are not very good. It all just did not go our way. We're still in it. Let's see what we can do here. I have a feeling that we're going to be taking quite a number of bets against our run defense, and I won, so I'm actually up on the tee box. So my first down bet, I'm behind.
Can we address that real quick, Clinton? You're kind of moving on with this win. Like Wilson, just a question for you, man. Do
It's
you
a
think
win. A
somebody
win's a
should
win.
win a Seahawks only betting show by only hitting on bets that are placed in a sense of hoping the opponent does well? Like, do you think that's within the spirit of the show?
I don't know that Najee Harris getting the ball 12 and a half times is necessarily a winning recipe for the Steelers every week, because as I was saying in the show, he does run like his pants are at his ankles. But yeah, I don't love it, but you got to win somehow. I mean, he's down $90 on the year. He's got to change it up. You might have to get a little immoral when you're that far behind.
I
Okay,
love it.
I just
love
wanted
it.
to see like how bad this was for his Hakra, because I mean I hit on one bet too this week. It just happened to be one where I was betting on success for one of our players. So
Well, here's the deal. I would argue, if we're going to go to court here, I would argue that you betting on a Myers over field goals is actually worse for our Hawkra, because that means we're stalled in the freaking red zone again,
Yeah,
and we're putting in chip shots when they should be touchdowns.
I
let
agree
me tell
with
you
that.
why. Let me
If
tell
you're
you
betting,
why.
if it's like you're betting on success for Michael Dixon. Well, guess what? If he's on the field a lot, it's not good news for us. He might still be one of our players, but it's not good news.
Okay, all right. Let me tell you why that bet was misunderstood. So, I heard you guys go through my rationale that you didn't have about that bet. Literally, when I made that bet, I'd made my other bets and I was trying to find a third bet, and I was like, "Fuck catfish." I'm going to take Myers over 1.5, because every time I've seemed to have done that, the Seahawks have scored lots of touchdowns. So it was like that was it. I was trying to reverse jinx my way in,
like the Cowboys game.
and it was the only one. Yeah, and
Gotcha.
I was very disappointed actually with hitting that one. That
Yeah,
wasn't
so you
that wasn't the intention.
you DCH'd wrong is what it sounds like. It's
Yeah,
you
I'm
tried
not
to DCH, but
DCH.
you right,
Yeah.
exactly. That's hence you shouldn't try, but you did. So I stand by. Look, here's the deal. I just knew Najee Harris was going to get a ton of work and maybe on the field a lot, and yeah, it is what it is. All right, so my first down bet today, this one you'll be happy, Adam. This is a positive for the Seahawks, and I need to. If you're going to be a Bear, be a Grizzly. I got some catching up to do. I can't rely on next week or any further weeks beyond that, so I got to go for it. My first one starts us at plus 175. It is a Seahawks to score a touchdown as the first score of the game, right? So anything else, it busts. Seahawks basically up 6-0, 7 with the extra point, plus 175. Why I liked it a little bit more than just being like, I need to find some winners here and some dollars. Vegas has Seattle as the first score of the game at minus 130, and the Cardinals like plus 105. So Vegas is saying, hey, we think Seattle scores first. Okay. So if you think they score first, then I'm going to take the one with the more juice and say, okay, well, then it's a touchdown and give me the plus 175. I need to catch up. It's a way for me to get out of the gate pretty strong. I put $17.50 back in my pocket. Wilson, am I smoking crack?
No, I don't think so, because I think that the team with the ball first is probably going to score a touchdown, and there's a 50% chance the Seahawks get the ball first. So
I'd actually put it less than 50%, because if we win the toss, we'll defer, and then I don't know what the Cardinals will do. So
that's true. I guess I assumed that everyone defers, but
no, they don't. Not everybody's dumb like us. But Adam, do you so? Adam, you're up next. You could take it, or you could comment on: do our Seahawks actually get going early this game?
I looked a little at these bets, Clinton, because I do understand where you're coming from here. And the Vegas does seem to think that the Seahawks are going to score early and often if you kind of look at the odds. And
yeah,
I was looking at that first Seahawks score or first Seahawks drive situation. And the only odds that were closer to even odds were for a punt. Like touchdown was the next most likely thing, according to Vegas. A field goal is even more unlikely than a touchdown to them. So if you're going to dabble in that area of the game, it makes sense. Plus, it's rooting for our own team's success. So I approve.
Thank you. I passed the Hawker sniff test, which is good. And we should all be passing that sniff test as Seahawks fans. All right. So Adam, you are up now. First down. Where are you going, bud?
Okay, you're going to, in post-production, put this up on the screen, because speaking of taking strays, I heard Wilson say something along the lines of, I was making up bullshit parlays that aren't real. And I got receipts, motherfucker. Catfish! Okay, I've got all the receipts. I take screenshots of all of them. That's just part of my process. So one of these made-up bullshit parlays that DraftKings just happens to have on their website is the Seahawks to score over 21.5. That's minus 205. And Geno to have over 1.5 touchdowns. That's minus 150. That gets me to minus 110 in a totally made up bullshit cheating bet.
Oh, I love that the catfish button's getting a workout today on what might be our final game, hope our final product of the year. Hopefully not. Look, all that to get to minus 110. The Geno part I really like. We'll talk about that more in a bit. I mean, geez, we better score more than 21.5. Wilson, are we able to actually be a fairly competent? Are we on? It's not even competent offense. We are a competent offense. Are we on the field long enough that we confidently get above 21.5 points?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But that's like a 80% yes. That's not a 100% yes.
It wasn't elongated.
Vegas has about the over-under for Seahawks points right around 25. So 21.5 is under what Vegas thinks. And the Cardinals are the worst scoring defense in the entire NFL. Like, let me repeat, they are the worst scoring defense in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
And they are particularly bad at giving up touchdown passes. So that was the idea behind this bet. Plus at minus 110, it's not crazy odds. And all I'm doing is just kind of kicking the can down the road to get my victory for the year if this does happen to be our last week.
Gotcha. Well, that makes some sense. All right, Wilson, third down for you. This is 2 weeks in a row that you are third in the tee box. You said you weren't, used to this. Well, maybe you better get used to it, bud. What are you doing to get out of this? What are you doing to get out of this hole?
Well, as we mentioned at the top, I'm $32 behind Adam, so I'm going super aggressive this week. We're going 300 or more on every down.
Careful.
So first down, we're starting off with a spicy 330 parlay.
Ooh,
this is betting against the Seahawks defense, which I don't love to do, but if there's money to be made, I will make the money considering that I'm $40 down on the season. So it's three-way parlay. The first leg is Trey McBride over 5.5 receptions. Now, we didn't give up the big day to Freiermuth that I expected last week, but McBride has hit this number in 5 straight games. He's had 6 or more, so I like that. Connor, anytime touchdown, and Connor, 60-plus rushing yards. I think those are both pretty much locks based on what we've seen the second half of the season and especially the last 2 weeks. And put those 3 together and it's plus 330.
So Adam, of that mixture, McBride 5.5 or more, Connor touchdown, Connor 60+. Which one do you feel is the weakest link in that parlay?
Oh, the McBride receptions, but I mean, the weakest link by how much? I mean, not that much. I mean, we're talking about tight ends over the middle. I guess the only thing that would give me some pause with that is just when you have a midget for a quarterback hitting that tight end over the middle of the field can sometimes be hard. But, overall, you look at all 3 legs of that bet and, if I didn't know any better, it was a made up parlay, but it sounds right to me.
Awesome. All right. Send them receipts. All right, Adam, you're up on second down. What are you doing, man?
All right. Up on second down. So instead of betting on our run defense being bad, I am going to bet on the Cardinals run defense being bad because it literally is worse than ours somehow. So I got Kenneth Walker over 55.5 yards. That is minus 120. And then the Seahawks getting 7.5 points at minus 571. And that gets me to a nice plus 102.
Okay. So basically even odds. Seattle to get 7.5. That feels, let's hope that hits. K9, for me, it's simply a matter of, does he get enough attempts? So 55.5 for him. All right, what are we looking at? 10 or 12. That's all he needs, right? Because one of them he's going to break out if DK Metcalf doesn't hold the dude when K9's streaking by him.
I know.
K9 hits my other bet last week for the longest rush. That got washed away because of That was another hit for me. That gets washed away. I love that bet. I was celebrating that bet until the stupid laundry came out. So I guess Wilson, the thing is, to get to 55.5, we're doing the math here. Is K9 going to get 10 to 12 touches or more, or are we just not going to have enough time because we're not on the field?
Yes, then that transitions perfectly into my second down bet, Clinton, which is another parlay involving Kenneth Walker hitting the over on rushing yards. I did these this morning, so it might have been a different line, but I got 54.5 as the over under there. And then I'm throwing that in with the game hitting the over, which is 48 points. And Geno Smith going over 261.5 passing yards. I think it's going to be a big shootout in this game.
Mhm.
That's, I mean, for all the reasons we've discussed. So yeah, and those 3 picks get me to plus 400.
Plus 400. Adam, here's the deal for me. I am in the part of that I love the most. I like them all. I think that over is going to smash. I don't even know why I didn't take the over. I think that both teams are going to score, not so much at will, but I think there's going to be a pretty steady stream of points being scored in this game. And that gets to plus 400, which is some kind of like okay days by two of our stars. Do you think we get over 48, 50 points in this game?
So last week, the Seahawks scored on like something along the lines of 4 of their first 6 possessions, or it was somewhere in there, right? So they were scoring against a very good Steelers defense. And the Cardinals defense is utter trash. Our defense has been relative trash. So at this point, this feels like a defense optional bowl. And I would imagine that whichever team gets 3 stops in this game easily wins the game. Whichever team gets 2 stops in this game has a damn good shot. And then it's 50-50 from there. Like, I just don't see too many defensive stands here. So I do like a higher scoring game for sure.
Taking the Michael Dixon under 2 punts for the win if that was available. That would be a fun one to take. Well, I'm with you. Man, to get to plus 400 with a couple of things I think are pretty likely. I like it, Wilson. I do. My last 2 bets, I'm going to give you just one of them, but my second down bet. But my last 2 go over 400 because again, I need to catch up here. So this is my spiciest one besides the Fail Mary, plus 470. I'm going to take Murray to go over his rushing yards of 31.5. I'm going to take Connor to go over his rushing yards of 70.5. It's a big number, but we're not stopping running backs. And then I have each team to score at least one touchdown in every half. So both halves. And that gets me to plus 470. Kind of just betting on we've been bad against the run. And I don't see how it just magically stops 6 days later, 7 days later. I don't see it. And I think there's points. I think there will be touchdowns to be had. So Wilson, do you think Connor is in line for a pretty 70 is a substantial day? That's a pretty big line for any NFL running back. Do you think it's too big?
No, I sometimes I like to come into these games thinking about like a Seahawks defensive performance. How big could his number get that it wouldn't shock me? And honestly, that number is in the triple digits. So a 70.5 day, that's fine. I mean, that seems like pretty close to his floor in this game, to be honest.
Well, 70 times 17, if a running back stays healthy, gets them right around 1,200 yards. That'd be a nice compilation season, which is a very good season, but it's not astronomical. And I feel the same way. I really hope that we're not sitting and watching a Connor 120 plus game and just sitting there, crying our Cheerios. Adam, do you have any action for Cardinals running backs this week, or what are you thinking? Do you think we step up a little bit or no?
So I do not have any money on Cardinals running backs because I would have to then be betting against my own team. So I didn't do that. But I understand where you're at. Like all betting is playing the what's more likely game, right? Like that's all we're doing for all of
for
this.
Sure.
And Wilson hit it on the head, man. Like if you were to tell me what's a big day from James Conner, $130 sounds about right to me. Like in 70 odd some yards, that seems like just kind of probably what he's going to get. That seems highly likely to me. I think the harder part is going to be getting to the 17 carries. We'll see how that goes, because I don't think the Seahawks offense is going to be easy to get off the field either, therefore making it difficult for the Cardinals to have that many rushing attempts. But they jellied the hell out of the Eagles, man. So, I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes. I'm hopeful that, look, if one could bust, if the Connor one ends up in the 60s, and then I think we won the game. Like I think we win the game pretty easily, unless it's an injury and DeMarcado, I think is his name, is in for him. But if it's like Connor gets 18 carries but only gets 60 something yards, like holy crap, we probably won this game by 10 points. I don't think that's going to be the reality, unfortunately. All right, Wilson, that brings it to you for third down. You're up first. Where are you going, dude?
Well, this is kind of a funny bet because we seem to think the Seahawks defense is going to spend some time on the field in this game. The question is, can they make tackles? I think yes. So what I did here was I cooked up a gigantic parlay of all of these over tackle bets for the Seahawks, where the
Where
money.
did you find tackle bets?
It's right there on draft. I can show you the receipt. I got it right here.
No, I believe you. It's just when I looked on DraftKings, they didn't have any tackle backs. Interesting. Okay, well, good for you.
I don't know. I did all my bets this morning. So
okay, cool.
So I took 4 different players where the money had moved significantly to the over, and put them in a parlay just because that seemed like the right thing to do. I don't know what any of their stats are, to be honest.
It feels good. It feels good.
It just
all right,
feels
so
right. So
who are these players? Yeah,
I got Bobby over 6.5. That feels like the biggest lock out of any of these. I got our new Pro Bowl safety Julian Love over 3.5. Got Big Leonard Williams over 2.5. And I got Michael Jackson over 2.5 because I don't think that Reek is going to see as much time this game defending the run as as he was atrocious as always in tackling last week against Pittsburgh. So those are the 4. Put them together, I get 625.
Ooh, okay, a double Wilson 300. So the 625. I'm going to call this the old tackle box. That's what I'm going to call this one, because it's 4-sided. That's a box. It's all about tackles. I like the MJ logic, Adam, in the sense that Pete showed earlier in the year that when the effort wasn't there, the willingness to engage in the violence that is required in the NFL, he sat Tariq down, and it looked like it sparked him for a little bit. But then last week at the 4-yard line, he's standing around and watching Bobby Wagner try to do his best Atlas and try to hold up a entire gaggle of Steelers. And he's standing there, which I know rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including me. Do you think MJ is out there a lot like Wilson's predicting, and we just see less Tariq?
If I'm Pete Carroll, I definitely put a lot more Michael Jackson on the field. Now, betting on corner tackling when it's not Witherspoon, I think is a little tough, just because it is a little bit random. But Clinton, you characterized Reek's play there on that goal line play as standing around. Not quite as shameful as it actually was, which was him literally backing away from the pile. It's not that he was just standing there trying to figure out what to do, is that he was afraid to mix it up with the big boys and started to back away. I'm over Reek Woolen. I wouldn't play him a snap in this game, and I'd trade him in the offseason. You can't win with those guys. You can't. That's too soft.
You had said in the flagship show, you called it out and you said you can't teach that. Like, that's not something that in the offseason you'd be like, hey, get with Richard Sherman and get that dog in you. You
can't teach that. Yeah.
It's a very difficult one. Dude's uber talented. Obviously, he's 4.3 blazing speed. He has all that catch up ability, but this has been, I think if we were classifying like most disappointing Seahawks, for the year, he's easily on the podium. I'm not saying he's wearing this tarnished gold medal. He's easily on the podium, and that's such a big miss. It's one of the reasons we're sitting here at 8-8 into a final game. So,
and it's one of the reasons that Spoon is slowly becoming one of my, or really already is one of my favorite Seahawks, because he consistently, we talk about last game, we can talk about the Niners game. Him and of course Bobby really at times in these games have seemed like the only ones who want to hit anybody, and like you were saying, that's not something that you can teach. Yeah,
he's got one hip out there, and he's out there like doesn't matter. He's balling. So yeah, love Spoon. It's been a joy to watch him this year. And I'm hopeful we get to watch some playoff spoon so we can turn it up even that much more. All right, that brings me back to the top. And I did mention earlier that I have a plus 400 here as well. I'm going, let's call this one Geno to DK, shall we? Geno, 275 or over yards. So again, I'm with you, Wilson. I think it's a big Geno day. DK touchdown, DK over 70 yards gets me to plus 415. I would normally go more conservative. Doesn't really matter. It hasn't exactly worked out. I need the Miani folks. Pay the man his Miani. So that's what I'm going with. Adam, you brought up that DK on the flagship show. You guys were talking about this. Like, look, if this guy got alpha volume, he'd be a top 5 wide receiver, most likely in terms of yards and touchdowns. Do you think we see a game here against a pretty putrid Arizona, DB room where DK's getting maybe 8 to 10 targets? What do you think?
I mean, that's kind of where we've been. I mean, he's been targeted quite a bit. I don't know what the actual numbers are. I don't care what volume he gets. He is a top 5 receiver in this league. And if you don't think so, then you're not watching the football games. Like, he has been on an absolute tear. And one thing that I really enjoy about your bet is the DK TD part of it. I couldn't find any DK TD props when I was looking. Maybe I was just looking in the wrong spot, but I really wanted to go that way because the Cards are terrible as a pass defense in the red zone and give up a crap ton of passing TDs. So, I mean, shoot, man, going big or going home, I appreciate it. And I think your eggs are in a pretty good basket.
Yeah, at least it's a fun basket. At least if we're gonna go down, then might as well go down and have some fun. The DK part, just if folks are interested, was at anytime DK was at plus 125, which is pretty spicy. I more want it, but I think DK will finish the year strong. He's over 1,100 yards now. I think he's got a really good shot to get into the 1,200s, and he's sitting at, I think, at 8 touchdowns. Right? It would be super cool. I of course want us to make the playoffs. But I do cheer for our dudes. Like, if he ends up with like 1230 and could rack up 2 touchdowns, that'd be freaking awesome. I mean, may or may not happen, but it'd be really cool if we're sitting there being like another 1,200 yard year, another double digit touchdown year, and just kind of shut the naysayers up. It's like, no, this dude, again, you might not think he's Justin Jefferson, and maybe he's not, but he's DK Metcalf, and he's darn good at football, and he's our guy, and he's signed. So let's keep building around him. And he's got balls. It's like people get on him for being fired up. What's an NFL player supposed to be like out there not fired up? Dude's got balls. What do you think, Wilson?
Yeah, again, at a time where last game, it just seemed like quite a few players gave up. Sometimes he does show that side where he can be a little bit, upset in a way that doesn't benefit the team. But most of the time, his fire is just fire. And that's something that's lacking on this team. So when you find it, you got to embrace it.
Well said, my man. All right, so Adam, you got your third down bet, and we'll get to our fail and Marys. Where are you going for third down?
Divisional game, backs against the wall. They're always tough. I hate playing down on the Indian burial field there in Arizona. Yep. I definitely think it's going to be a close game. I think it'll be scoring at will. The Seahawks, we play 1-score games. It's what we do. And I'm predicting the Seahawks to win. So Seahawks to win by 1 to 6 points is plus 270. Not quite a Wilson 300. I wanted to have at least one bet that wasn't total turtle mode here just to try to get over the finish line. And so this was the way that I went there.
I had predicted, because I'm always so accurate, on what if 24-23. That would hit for you. That was Seahawks, by the way, Adam. So that's my prediction. I'm in the same thing. I'm like, I don't know that we blow anybody out right now. I just don't see paths for us to blow teams out currently. I think we could hang. I think we could score points, but I also think they're going to score points too. And then even if we get up 8, we get up 10, which we have the ability to, I don't have the confidence that we're just like, oh, we get that shutdown defensive performance. It's all year. It seems to be okay. Even if we're getting ahead or we take the lead, guys, we give up that fourth quarter drive. It's like, come on, we put ourselves in position. The offense did their job. And then we give up another one, the Dallas game, the Detroit game. And sometimes Geno has enough time to come back, and sometimes he doesn't. He runs out of ticks on the clock there. So will be very interesting. All right, so that then takes us back to the fail Mary. Let's get through these. This one for me was pretty simple. I watched the Eagles Arizona game. It kind of scared me a little bit, to be honest, about the way that Arizona did move the football. With that, there was still some rust from Murray, and there was that bad pick six. And it was probably not even Murray's fault. It was a miscommunication. Regardless, I am taking a first drive interception from the Cardinals. I think it was plus 1,600. I got to go back and check. I'm pretty sure it was plus
1,200.
Plus 12. Okay,
sign me
perfect.
up.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Because,
So
that's exactly
there we
the same
go.
thing
All
I
right.
have.
Adam
Yep.
and I, first drive.
Yep.
Murray turns it over. I don't care how it happens, but why not? Let's get that Sunday rubber right away. That $1 scratcher plus 1,200 Murray interception drive number one. All right. So Wilson, we can fly right to you. What do you got for the your family?
Well, Clinton, I hope you have another pencil ready because I've really been wearing that one out in your notebook this whole time.
It's true.
I love these, by the way. I love your BS made up parlays. These are fun.
So I've had three-leg parlays for the first 3 downs. This one's a 4-leg parlay. So it's based on this being a high-scoring game. It's kind of been my philosophy throughout these bets, obviously. So I'm going to take total touchdowns for the game over 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
A touchdown in every quarter. Over 1.5 Myers field goals. And Seahawks to win by 1-6, and that gets me to 1,700.
Oh my Lord, I love it. Okay, 1-6, and that's 1,700. Okay, look, I'll be happy for both you guys if we just win the game by 1-6. I don't care, and the Bears win their game from 1 to a zillion. I don't care. It's perfect, right? So hey, that's fun. It's fun. I do agree in the sense that, I mean, obviously it's a tough one to hit, Wilson, but it's a Hail Mary. I just think we're in general, guys. I think we're in for points. I think we're in for points. I think we're in for some frustration. What was the terminology we came with? Predictably infuriating, right? Predictably infuriating. I don't see how we get off this roller coaster quite yet. Doesn't mean we won't win and the Bears won't win, because I think those things are going to happen. However, I think sometime in the third quarter, we're going to be sitting there being like, this game is predictably infuriating. And I hope I'm wrong. But Adam, is there a way off of this roller coaster quite yet without the season ending? Or is that just the way it is?
Season's not going to end. I do believe that they're going to get the dub, and I think the Bears are going to get the dub. Now, with that said, you know how you get through this in this entire season? And I think this is something that people are having a difficult time with just as a whole. You need to manage your expectations. Like, if you thought that the Seahawks were going to go, be a 13-win team and just steamroll to the Super Bowl and get a championship, and then they're disappointed that they've fallen short of that, yeah, you're going to be pretty upset. If you thought, shoot, we're going into this year, second year of the rebuild, I think they'll be a little better than they were last year. I can't wait till year 3. I just want them to be competitive and give themselves a chance to go on a run late. Then, this has been fine. Just this game to manage your expectations. If you expect the defense to suddenly come around and Clint Hurt to get it figured out finally, and for the Seahawks to blow somebody out, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed and you're going to be mad. Don't set yourself up for failure. Just understand what this team is and what it isn't right now, and then hope for the best. Like, just do that.
I think some wise words there from Wilson. I called you the stoic earlier, but maybe it's not that like it's not zero sum. It's not that like Adam is suddenly a stoic and then you're not. But I think maybe you're rubbing off on Adam in a positive way there, buddy.
I like it.
Yeah. I needed a little wisdom from the youngster. He's been helping me out.
Of course. Well, he's doing his thing. And I love it that you're still in California, and then you get a little bit more time before you go back east. We did make a deal, so all the listeners know we made a deal out there that the Seahawks will make the playoffs so that Wilson has to interrupt his travel plans, like refix his travel plans, change them so that he can watch the game live when we do make the playoffs. So let's have it. Let's have some fun in the Discord, Seahawkers podcast. Of course, if you're out on YouTube, youtube.com/SeahawkersPod, come and join us from theflock.com. Look, doesn't matter that it may be the end of the season or not. great. It's always a good time to join that community, get in the Discord. That's going to keep rocking all year long. I'm not going to start talking about off season yet because I'm not going to jinx it. Fully believe that we're going to be having a show next week. And after my amazing performance this week, what is it? To be in the red or the black? Which one's good? I don't know these things.
Black is good, red bad.
Black is good. Okay. So by next week, I'll be in the black and I'll be ready to take my PNW championship for the year as we head into our playoff game. So boys, I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. See, still not as good as with Brandon. This is BS.